Alright, this video is for you to watch for periods 3 and 5. Okay, you're due now, so pause this video and submit this worksheet. You were supposed to do questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for homework. Okay, so submit that. It's under Scale Number 1 worksheet. Alright, so you need to get this graphic organizer out from Tuesday. It's the one that we've been working on. And you are going to start on the back side. So we already finished the front, so now it's the back. And I have 3 examples to get through. But you do also have to take some notes. Okay, so my expectations for this is that we're transitioning to middle of class, so you need to stay in your seat. Should be no calling out, no off-task talking, and you need to stay focused on the task at hand. In this case, the task at hand is watching this video and then completing the worksheet. Alright, our objective for this video is I will be able to use scale to solve problems computing perimeter and areas from a scale drawing. So if you look here at A, you can use scale to find missing measurements and dimensions, and you can use it to find perimeter and area. Alright, so if I look at this blueprint, so this is kind of a drawing of a house, and I wanted to put a border around the house. Say I wanted to put in some bushes that went all along the house or some siding, and I wanted to figure out how much that was. I'm trying to find how many feet of border I would need to buy. So I am using perimeter to find the border, which is the outside. It's like if I wanted to find fencing. Okay? If I were to unfold this, I could make a straight line. Okay, now let's look here. Let's ask another question. What if I wanted to lay carpet in all of the entire house? So I wanted to put carpet in all of the house. That's a lot of carpet. I would need to find how much I need in square feet, right? So notice how the last one was just feet. But now it's talking about squared feet. That's because if you notice, I'm shading in the whole house. I cannot turn that into a straight line. So I'm using square feet, and I'm going to be finding the area of the actual house. Okay. So on your notes page, you need to, step 1 is convert all measurements first. So we need to find the dimensions of the new dimensions after using the scale. And then step 2 is using the correct formula to calculate perimeter or area. Keep in mind that perimeter is the length of the outside of a shape, and we use regular units, so for example, feet. And area is the space inside of a shape, and we use square units, so for example, squared feet. If you still need time to write this in your notes, go ahead and pause the video. Alright, so on Tuesday, we talked about this example. And I talked about how I wanted to enlarge, which means make bigger, this piece of paper that I had gotten. So I had printed off the paper of expectations. And I wanted to put a poster. And you guys can look, there's a poster by the bulletin board, dry erase marker on one of the walls. I made a big poster, okay? And I used the scale of 1 to 4 to make that poster. And we found the new dimensions, right? So if you recall, we had our guide fraction. So we had our model over our actual. So we had our model over our poster. So for example, the worksheet over the poster. And our scale was 1 to 4. And I needed to find how much 8 inches was. So I made a proportion here, 1/4 to 8 inches, which gave me 32. So I was trying to find this, and I found 32. And then I had to do the same thing. So I did 1/4 is equal to 11 over x, and I found that it was 44. Okay? So I found that the new dimensions were 32 and 44. The new learning for today is what do I do with those new dimensions? Right? So for example, if I wanted to put a border, I put the border of tape around there. If I wanted to find exactly how much tape I needed to put the poster up on the wall, how could I figure that out? How many inches of tape would I need? Well, in order to do that, I'm just going to find the perimeter of the poster. So to find the perimeter of the poster, if this was the poster, I'd have to add each side up. So I'd have to add 32 and 32 and 44 and 44. Right? So I'm just going to add all those together, and I get 152 inches. So I need 152 inches of tape to put up my poster in the room. Well, what if I wanted to know how much space I needed on the wall? Then that would mean that I'd have to try to find the area. And to find the area, I use this formula called length times width. So I'm multiplying 44 times 32 to get 1,408 square inches. And that's all I have to do. It's a lot of steps, but the math is simple. So let's try one from scratch. This is your next example. It says, Kenny drew a scale drawing of the lawn in front of the school. He uses a scale 2 inches to 3 yards. If his drawing is 44 inches long and 18 inches wide, find the area and perimeter of the lawn. So Kenny is drawing out this lawn. So this is his drawing. So he did a scale, he did the model, and we're trying to find the actual. So I'm starting with my guide fraction always, right? And on this scale, it says this is 44 inches long, and this is 18 inches wide. So I'm trying to find what are the new dimensions. So step one is I have to convert all measurements first. So in order to do that, I need my guide fraction. And in this case, it's going to be inches compared to yards. Right? So my first fraction is always my scale fraction. So if I annotated this, which I was supposed to, I should have said a scale is 2 inches to 3 yards. And I also know that my drawing is 44 inches long and 18 inches wide. And I need to find the area and perimeter. So I'm trying to find two different things. Need to know both of those. So my guide fraction is going to help me set up my proportion. So I have my scale and my other info. So in this case, my scale is 2 inches to 3 yards. Notice I'm taking 2 to 3. Okay? All right, now I need to find my other information. I know from my drawing that I have 44 inches and 18 inches, but I'm just going to use one at a time. So I'm going to use 44, and it talks about inches, so I'm going to put that on top because the 44 is, the inches is on top. And now I'm going to take my calculator, and I'm going to solve this by cross multiplying. So I do 3 times 44, which gets me 132, is equal to 2 times x, which gives me 2x. And now I have to divide each side by 2. And my answer here is x is equal to 66 yards. So the lawn is actually 66 yards long. Okay? Now I need to set up another proportion because I still need to find out what 18 inches is used to. So I'm going to use my scale, my same scale of 2 over 3, but in this case my other info is 18 inches, so it goes on top. I'm going to solve this. I have 3 times 18 is 54 is equal to 2x. And then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. And I get x is equal to 27 yards. 27 yards. Okay, so my new dimensions of the yard, so the real lawn in front of the school is 66 yards by 27 yards. Right? That's big. But that's just my first step. I haven't found my area. So if I look here, I haven't found my area or my perimeter yet. So you guys have space for this, but I'm going to erase this because I need to be able to show you how to find the perimeter and area. Okay. So I always like to start with perimeter, but it's up to you. So in order to find the perimeter, remember, we're going to add each side up, all of the sides up. So my perimeter is actually going to be equal to 66 plus 66 plus 27 plus 27. I'm going to put that in my calculator. 66 plus 27 plus 66. And I get 186 yards. Okay, so I have found my perimeter of the actual lawn. So I'm trying to find the real lawn. All right, let's find the area. All right, actually, I don't have space there, so I'm going to put it off to the side. So in order to find my area, I honestly like finding area better than perimeter because it's actually less that I have to put in the calculator, because all I have to do is do 66 excuse me, times 27. If I put that in the calculator, 66 times 27, I get an area of 1,782 square yards. I do need to put that little 2. And now I have answered the question. So if you think about what steps I had to take, I had to do, let's do this in red. I had to first find the new dimensions. So this was 1A and 1B. So I had to find 2 things in step 1. And then I had to find the perimeter. And then finally I found the area. Right? So it's long, but it's pretty easy math. Well, doesn't take, yeah. All right, you guys have one more example. Why don't you guys go ahead and try this on your own, pause the video, and come back when you're ready to check. All right, welcome back. For this one it says, Emily is designing a garden for her backyard. She first creates a scale drawing using the scale 1 inch to 3.5 feet. The dimensions of the scale drawing are 3 inches by 4.5 inches. And I need to calculate the actual dimensions, the actual perimeter, and actual area. So on the drawing, this is 3 inches by 4.5 inches. And I need to find the actual garden. So let's get started. I need to do, hey, notice here how I have the steps. This is step 1, step 2, and step 3. I have to do step 1 first. So, first thing I need is a guide fraction. So my guide fraction, what are the 2 things that I'm comparing? I'm comparing the drawing of the garden to the actual drawing. To the actual garden. So if you think about your scale, I'm comparing inches to feet. So let's set up our proportions. First proportion is always my scale. So I have 1 over 3.5, which, let's be honest, we don't like using fractions, so let's rewrite that as 3.5 is equal to, and so I actually have to set up 2 different proportions. Let me use the same scale. So on my first one, I'm going to use 3 inches. Notice how inches goes on top, so I'm putting my number on top. I need to find x. And then same here, 4.5 is in inches, so it goes on top. And I have the x here. Alright, now I just have to solve. I'm going to cross multiply. So I have x is equal to, I'm going to put that in my calculator, 3.5 times 3 gives me 10.5 feet. Okay, and then right here I have to do the same thing, and I get x is equal to 4.5 times 3.5, 15.75 feet. So the new dimensions are 10.5 feet by 15.75 feet. Alright, did step 1. Now I have to do step 2. Whew, I'm glad I'm done with step 1. That's the longest one. So for my perimeter, I'm going to add up these. So I'm going to use 10.5 twice. So 10.5 plus 10.5 plus 15.75 plus 15.75. And I get my perimeter is equal to, I'm going to put that in my calculator, 10.5 plus 10.5 plus 15.75 plus 15.75. That gives me 52.5, and I need my label of feet. Okay, so that's part 2. And then part 3 is my area, so I'm going to use area is equal to length times width. So I need to multiply 10.5 times 15.75. If I put that in my calculator, I get 165.375 feet squared. Okay, so those are my final answers. Great, hopefully this video helped. You have 2 examples to look over on your worksheet. Your worksheet is 6 questions, but they are long, so try your best. This is your worksheet. You're going to be doing the same thing on all of these. If you think here, it says your new sides. It's step 1. Find the actual area of this real room. So what does 3 inches equal? What does 4 inches equal? You need to find the actual area, that's number 2, and the perimeter, number 3. Okay, good luck. Thanks for watching.